Okay, so our first book is titled Man's Higher Consciousness. The book is written by Hilton Hotema. And honestly, I am not sure what his credentials are. Not that it matters, not that I give a fuck. Because who gives a shit, right? If the content resonates at a deeper level, that's all that matters. It could be some homeless guy that's been homeless all his life and he wrote something magnificent, then that's all that matters. However, let's quickly find Hilton Hotema's Wikipedia. So Hilton Hotema was born in 1878, died 1970. So he's from the 19th century. So here's the introduction. Hilton Hotema, born George R. Clements, was a 20th century, 20th century, not 19th century. 20th century American alternative health writer, esoteric, author, and mystic, who also adopted the names, whatever, has different names. So here's the background. Hilton Hotema authored numerous books on dietetics, fasting, fruitarianism, breatharianism, vitality, cellular regeneration, longevity, higher consciousness, spirituality, alternative medicine, and ancient wisdom. Beautiful. So a little introduction about the book that we're gonna start in this video. I'm gonna read the introduction. In Man's Higher Consciousness, Hotema wrote that man was designed to live 80,000 years to 100,000 years. Interesting, because the Hindus say the same thing. They say in the Sat Yuga, the average lifespan of a human is 100,000. Before his teeth and alimentary canal were subject to degeneration. So the book was published in 1952 as Man's Miraculous Unused Power, so that was the name. So Hilton Hotema claimed to become a vegan at 9 years of age after reading a book about health at school. He said he lived as a breatharian fruitarian for almost 80 years. So he was practicing fruitarianism, basically. He lived to 92 years of age. Okay, so the man wrote about breatharianism, but he basically lived as a fruitarian, and he lived up to 92 years of age. So, okay, that's an introduction about the book and about the author. So the way I'm gonna read this book is, very casual, because really, it's very casual. If there's something I don't understand, I'm gonna repeat it for myself. You're just gonna basically see me read out loud, that's all. If there's something I don't understand, or I want to read again, or something like that, I'm gonna repeat. Also, I will make commentary as I feel fit. If there's something that I feel like I want to commentate on, or relate it to something else that I learned somewhere else, etc. So that's why I say this is not exactly an audiobook, because with an audiobook you're gonna get just the actual book, the actual content, just read with a voice. This is not an audiobook, because like I said, this is just me reading to myself. This is a way for me to keep myself accountable to actually start reading again. Okay? But I figure for some of you guys, this will be interesting also to just listen, since you already watch my videos and you're used to, me just talking about something. So the commentary, I guess, will actually be something of a welcome thing for some of you guys. Okay? So again, this is just me reading out loud, and just as if it was me reading, except for there's no camera, no video. Again, this is just to keep me accountable, so I can actually fucking read. Okay, I can actually finish what I start. Because I seem to not be able to finish what I start these days when it comes to books. comes to books. Okay, so okay, all right. So let's get started here. This will be the introduction part of the book. All right, let's take a deep breath. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're gonna read 3 sections here before lesson 1. The first one is titled Why We Live and Why We Die, and then introduction, and then man eats to die. Ah, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so let's begin. Why we live and why we die. Scientific investigation shows that we breathe to live and we breathe to die. We drink to live and we drink to die. We eat to live and we eat to die. So again, we breathe to live and we breathe to die. We drink to live and we drink to die. We eat to live and we eat to die. In this work, it is sought to show how to take death out of breathing, drinking and eating, so man may live 250 to 300 years. As Dr. Robert McCarson of the British Army Medical Service in India reported of a colony of people he found living in a certain Himalayan region who were active and vigorous, yet so old in years that he was astounded and could not believe their records were correct. But he found no error in their way of keeping time. He said, men well over 200 years of age were working in the fields with much younger men, doing as much work and looking so much like the younger men that I was unable to distinguish the old from the young. Okay, so that's the first section, why we live, why we die. So, introduction. The living cell is animatized by cosmic force and intelligentized by cosmic consciousness. I'd like to repeat that again. The living cell is animatized by cosmic force and intelligentized by cosmic consciousness. The human body is a mass of trillions of cells guided by infinite intelligence. Each cell is a mass of millions of atoms, each of which is a miniature solar system. This is when the fob of me comes out. Of course, English is not my mother tongue, so there's going to be things that I can't pronounce, okay? So just let it slide. With planets in the form of tiny electrons whirling at tremendous speed around the common center of attraction, as above, so below. The solar system has no use for food. The solar system has no use for food. The electrons do not eat because, if you look at what makes up anything and everything, it's basically electrons. You keep going into it, right? That's what science tells us. You keep zooming in and in and in, and what's at the core of everything? It's electrons. And electrons do not eat, I suppose, right? The electrons do not eat. The atoms do not eat. The cells do not eat. Why should man eat? The parent cell begins the body of man and expresses the uncanny intelligence which it inherits from the cosmic principle of creation. This cell does not come from food and does not depend on food. The body is not the product of food and should not depend on food. Food cannot sustain what it cannot produce. As the body is not the product of food, it is actually not sustained by food. Infinite intelligence works in the cell from the parent cell on through the entire existence of the body. Being directed by infinite intelligence, the cells know spontaneously the functions they are to perform in the construction and maintenance of the body. This is why when you sleep, you heal, because you get out of the way, which is the infinite intelligence, and the body, guided by infinite intelligence, knows exactly what to do to heal you. The innate intelligence of the part of the cells must play in the whole body is a mode of being at all the elements of the body. These elements know their work and can receive no aid from human hands. Again, just think of sleep. The body's cells are seen to understand numerology, geometry, physiology, and biology. And act concurrently for the good of the whole. The spontaneous tendency of the cells toward the formation of the organs of the body is a primary datum of observation. The body, from the parent cell on, is built by techniques and directed by intelligence entirely foreign to the best scientific minds. From the parent cell, composed of invisible atoms, and out of the invisible essence of the universe, in the infinite air which contains all in itself, the body and its organs come into being by the work of cells endowed with infinite intelligence. The cells prove by their work that they possess a prevision of the future structure and its purpose, and they synthesize from the atomic substance that appears to be contained in the plasma not only the building material but also the builders. The trillions of cells forming the body are tiny suns and stars, as above so below, composed of the same cosmic essence and governed by the same cosmic law. This is beautiful. To look at each cell of your body as a mini star and a mini sun, governed by the same cosmic laws that the stars and the sun are governed by, and the planets. A droplet of water forms a tiny microcosm containing a great variety of cosmic chemical elements. The body cell is practically a duplicate of a water droplet, but raised to the high plane of divine animation. If the cells depend on food and drink, man should continue to grow and live as long as he had sufficient food and drink. I'd like to repeat that again. If the cells depend on food and drink, man should continue to grow and live as long as he had sufficient food and drink. You see? If food was a necessity, and if food made a human thrive, then that means as long as you ate food, you should live for as long as you want. But clearly that isn't the case. then obese people would be the elites of humans, wouldn't they be? They're eating, right? They're eating more than any of us. But clearly that isn't the case. According to the press of May 27th, 1937, Srimati Bala of Bankura, India, aged 68, had taken no food nor water since she was 12. The account said, "She is always gay and looks like a child." These are the days where the word gay meant happy. What is possible in one case is possible in millions of other cases. You do hear, especially in India actually, you do hear of countless accounts of people who live without water and without food. The one you can go look up on YouTube, just look up Indian man, no food, no water. I can't remember his name here. I'll actually get his name. But he's actually been through scientific, in India. He's been through observation. They observed him for 10 days. No water, no food, and he was, I mean, look at his eyes. He's definitely a holy man of some sorts. Indian man, no food, no water. Prahlad Jani, Prahlad, first name and then last name Jani, Jani. He says he hasn't taken any food or water since 1940. You can watch him on YouTube. They observed him for 10 days under strict observation in either an Indian hospital or an Indian university. 10 days, no water, no drink, and no problem. So, let's go back to the book. Alright, so next section. Man eats to die. Here we go. Things are getting juicy now. So, man eats to die. The world is flooded with books on food and feeding. No one seems to realize that eating is not natural, but an acquired habit, like smoking and drinking, and that air is the cosmic reservoir of all things, including the substance that builds and sustains the human body. Science shows that the body is built of cells, which are composed of molecules, which are composed of atoms, which are composed of electrons, which are nothing more than whirling centers of force in the ether. If everything is composed from electrons, what are electrons? Electrons are not physical, because reality is not physical to begin with. Electrons are nothing more. Let's read this again. Electrons are nothing more than whirling centers of force in the ether. It's in the ether. It's not physical. You see, it's not physical. It's in the ether. Electrons don't eat. Electrons do not eat. They're not even physical to begin with, so that they may take any physical food. Electrons do not eat, atoms do not eat, molecules do not eat, cells do not eat, and the body is built of and sustained by the cells and not what man eats. More proof that eating is only a habit, is not only a habit, but a bad one, appears in the fact that a sick man often begins at once to recover when given no food, and even shows signs of growing younger. Have you ever questioned why is it that when you fast you get better? Has it ever occurred to you that perhaps eating is not natural, and that when you stop subjecting yourself to this drug, this substance, the body gets better? You know, like why? You ever question why? Why is it that if I fast I heal? How come? How come? It's because the body is always actually trying. It's because we've all been programmed to eat, and the body is always trying to heal itself, and it's working against the odds, obviously, if you're eating all day. But it's constantly trying to heal itself, get back to homeostasis, get back to equilibrium, to its natural state of wellness. So when you're sick and you fast, you get better, you heal, your body heals, your immune system regenerates. It's because it's an acquired habit. It's a drug. It's just a substance that we've been led to believe is necessary for survival, which is making us die, as is being pointed out here in this book. Okay, so let's keep reading. Yeah, anti-aging. Same thing. Anti-aging. You fast, you show signs of growing younger. Of course, because it's your eating is not natural. This could not be, and it would be dangerous for one to fast if eating were natural and food were needed to sustain the body. Why does man seem to starve to death when deprived of food? A lot of people bring that up, right? So, that riddle, man's miraculous unused powers, I think that's maybe one of his other books, considers. Okay, so for more than half a century, the author read books on food and feeding and closely followed the argument and explanations. He found those who favored vegetarianism. Wait, are we still on the same page here? Yeah, okay. So he found those who favored vegetarianism omitted all the bad features, and the same course was pursued by those who favored carnivorism. Books favoring vegetarianism say nothing of the damaging qualities of vegetables and cereals. Those favoring carnivorism carefully omit the damaging properties of flesh. These authors lead their readers astray with half-truths. A half-truth is more dangerous than a lie, as it is more misleading. Oof. Take that in. A half-truth is more dangerous than a lie, as it's more misleading. The author describes the damaging qualities of all foods and favors none. What he shows will shock the reader and show him why that group of eminent doctors in the 19th century, after studying the food question from every angle, concluded with this astounding statement: we eat to live and we eat to die. We eat to live and we eat to die. Why is it possible that we eat to live and eat to die? If we eat to live, how can we eat to die? If we eat to die, how can we eat to live? In this work, these puzzling questions are considered and answered. So that's the end of this part. Our next part will be lesson number 1. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting, right? Very interesting. Okay, on to lesson number 1.